Hey YouTube, tomorrow is Froakie Community Day where you evolve it to Greninja and you will get Hydro Cannon. So we're going to quickly go over the details. I mostly just gave you all of them. And then we're going to go over analysis, Great League, Ultra League, Master League. Hint, Master League there is no analysis. It's still terrible, but Great League, Ultra League, definitely a huge improvement. Is that enough to make it meta? I'll talk about that in a minute. So Froakie, more Froakies in the wild, evolve it to get Hydro Cannon. Of course, Hydro Cannon is one of the best fast charge moves in the game. Why this Pokemon becomes better? Because right now its fast move is Bubble. But after the event, or starting with the event and continue afterwards, your Greninja will be able to get Water Shuriken. And it is a fast, it's a don't worry about power, it's just a super fast charging fast move. So you have a super fast charging fast move to go with Hydro Cannon, which is already a very, very heavy hitting fast charging charge move, right? And that's why everyone is like going nuts about this, because it is going to become just insane with how fast it can spam Hydro Cannons. This is also 3 times dust. Anytime you get 3 times dust is a good event, and then your normal stuff for trades and incense and stuff like that. So Great League, Ultra League, and Master League. Why this Pokemon everyone is freaking out over it is because you essentially have a faster spamming Hydro Cannon than Swampert. So immediately everyone's like, okay, faster spamming Hydro Cannon, this thing's going to be a beast. Which, yes and no. The problem is, with Swampert, you have that ground typing. So your only weakness is grass. You are double weak to grass, but otherwise you are just neutral to everything else, or resist. Greninja has a dark secondary typing, which sucks because you add fighting, you add fairy, you add I don't forget if you add anything else. Let me just quickly check. Greninja adds a bug. That was the third one, because you're already weak to electric. So here's the thing: the ground on Swampert nullifies the electric, so that only does neutral. So that's why Swampert's only double weak to grass. But here you are single weak to bug because of the dark, electric because of the water, fairy because of the dark, fighting because of the dark, and grass because of the water. So you have 5 typings, and you are much, much glassier, I believe, than Swampert. Let's just quickly look at some stats here. Yeah, way. You have a way heavier attack, right? 139 to 122, but you have a lower defense by 7, and more importantly, a lower stamina by 23. And everyone knows that Swampert is already glassy. This thing is essentially a glass cannon. So you have to use this as multiple shields, spammy closer sort of thing, because you just need shield for it. So what does that mean in terms of Great League? So Great League, the difference between currently Bubble and Surf, Bubble fast move, Surf charge move, versus Water Shuriken fast move and Hydro Cannon charge move is 9 additional wins and 1 additional tie. You pick up Shadow Charizard, Defense Deoxys, Lantern, Lickitung, Mandibuzz, a Ninetales with Powder Snow, Pelipper, Skarmory, Swampert, and walrein. So that is quite the list. Just be able to get to a fast move, and like a lot of these things, not a lot of these things, but a few of these things resist all the moves, like they resist the Hydro Cannons here, but you're just now being able to spam these Night Slashes so fast that you can just take this out, right? So it's a super fast charging move. Look at that. Three moves and you're at a Night Slash. 4, 3, 4, and 1 here. So 3, 4, and 1 is 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You throw 8 Water Shurikens and you get 3 Night Slashes off, right? So super fast charging move. Lots of difference here. The main problem is some of these matchups where you're going to be way better against with a Swampert in, you're going to lose here, right? So let me just throw Swampert in here to give you an idea, because Swampert is one of the best. Swampert with 5 more wins and 1 more tie here. The difference being Azumarill, right? Because Night Slash, Hydro Cannon just resisted. You are just drawing dead against Azumarill. There's nothing you can really do there. You beat Cofagrigus with Greninja, which makes sense because you have the Night Slashes and you're spamming those. But you, even as a water type, lose to Diggersby. Having a water type fast move and a charge move, and you lose to Diggersby. That just shows your glassiness. Drapion, again, that makes sense because you're not resisting poison anymore. You flip the Jellicent, right? So you're going to flip a lot of these like psychic ones and ghost ones just because you can spam the Night Slashes so fast. But Lantern, right? You don't resist the electric anymore. You're weak to electric and you're not the ground typing there. Lick Tongue is evenish, which isn't you win, but it's interesting. Amanda, same sort of thing. Just like you're actually out spamming here. Plus your fast move is not resisted by the Mandibuzz like it is on Swampert. That is for, yeah, that's a Snarl, but not Air Slash. I'd rather worry about Snarl anyways. But here's the big one, right? Charmer, you're half dark, goodbye there. Obstagoon, you're half dark, weak to fighting, goodbye there. Registeel, you're just gonna get one shot by the Focus Blast there. So there's a few that you Toxapex. Again, you don't resist the poison there. Counter, you're weak to counter against Toxicroak. So that is why in the Great League, Swampert is still better. In the Ultra League, you do, again, pick up a ton of matchups. Cresselia, double. Empoleon, Escav, Giratina Altered, Jellicent, Mandibuzz, Muck, Trevenant, and Umbreon. And holy meta Pokemon that you pick up these matchups against. This is great, right? Being able to spam your fast move to get to these Night Slashes to take out Cress and anything that's weak to it. Giratina, Jellicent, being able, and Trevenant, all those are weak to that. Being able just to spam these Hydro Cannons against double and Umbreon and stuff like that. So huge improvement. 10 pickups, which is still great. Still below average rating, right? And the problem is the Great League is filled with counter users. Farizian, Toxicroak, and we'll talk about fairies in a second. Scrafty, Obstagoon's going to come up right there. Poliwrath now with counter. Machamp. And actually, you flip Escav, which is interesting because Escav's a counter user. Defense Deoxys, Cobalion, and Buzzwole with superpower, right? So there are a ton of just counter users in this. And so that's your extra dark typing, which kind of limits you. And then there is the dark typing when it also fares you against fairies. So there's only a few of them. A9tails is the main one. Clefable. Where's Clefable? Clefable isn't even on this list, right? So as soon as you add, this is just I just put in the Ultra League meta, but we got to add Clefable to this because that's a definite loss there. Right? Doesn't help you anyway there. But you got some good wins against the meta. And again, we're gonna, what's the difference between that and a Swampert? And I gotta imagine that Swampert probably will have a way better, yeah. Has an 8 better thing, right? Beating the fairies there. Probably beating some of the counter users, Toxicroak, other fairy in there, these other bulky Pokemon. The problem with Great Ultra League is that a lot of these Pokemon are bulky, and Greninja is still very classy. So you are just going to get lit up in a lot of these neutral matchups, even if you're spamming like crazy, right? But you do pick up some very, very nice ones against some great meta Pokemon. So, and Master League, here's your 5 seconds to say don't use it in Master League. You pick up Giratina, Origin, Ho-Oh, and Mewtwo, which is pretty cool, but still garbage in the Master League. But huge improvements in the Great League and Ultra League. So this is obviously one that you will need to get. Now, in terms of team building, would you use this over Swampert? In my opinion, if you have Swampert with Hydro Cannon, you're not really using this. Some people may do. The problem is you can't do a true ABB. Someone's like just trying to be smart, like, oh, I'll just run Greninja and Swampert in the back together. It's like, yes, but no. Like, I know your idea, thinking like Double Hydro Cannon users, this will be sweet. It's like, no, that dark typing adds 4, instead of the ground typing, adds 4 additional weaknesses that you can't like safe switch Greninja to pull out a grass, because you can pull out a fighter, you can pull out a fairy, you can pull out like a bunch of these other Pokemon, which is just going to destroy you, right? So you can't really run APB with Swampert like that. You can run it like they don't have the same, they have a lot of the same wins in the Great League here, but there are some different ones. You would be like less inclined to use it. You'd have to like cover your fighter weakness and stuff like that more, but you would probably cover Psychic more, like I'm guessing Cresselia. Looks like you cover Lickitung more, or Cofagrigus, right? Which you're not seeing a ton of those, and you still lose to Crest technically too with the Grass Knots just taking you out. So like if you have Swampert, you're probably playing Swampert. Still worth building up, because again, if you have a Great League remix or something like that, Swampert could be banned. If you have something where it's a limited meta where Dark is allowed, but Ground maybe isn't, you'll use this instead of Swampert. So anything that's like a limited meta, it will be up more. So yeah, that is basically the analysis. I don't think it changes a ton of the meta short term. I still think, like, especially with Carbink coming in, I think that Carbink, well, with Carbink coming in, I said that there's going to be more Registeel. I said there'd be more Mud Boys. Plus, I said there'd be more Registeel and Galarian Stunfisk. So if we just kind of look at those matchups, I gotta imagine you do pretty well against Stunfisk and Registeel. Actually, Registeel probably not, yeah, because you just get Focus Blast, so it's actually more a loss there. You probably do well against Stunfisk is my guess. Yeah, you're gonna beat Stunfisk, but you beat it even more with Swampert because you resist the rock slides, and you do not resist the rock slides with Greninja. And then the Mud Boys. So against Swampert, the good news is it looks like you quite easily beat Swampert, which is not surprising, right? Because Hydro Cannon is resisted on the water here, but it is neutral to Swampert because it is half ground. So that makes sense that you're beating Swampert. What other Mud Boys are there? Whiscash is not even on this list, but I'm pretty sure Quagsire will be on this list. PB Poke, I love you, but you gotta update your Great League meta over here. Put Quagsire and Whiscash on this as well. So yeah, you're beating both of those, but again, you would have beat both of those on Swampert anyways. So it's one of those things where it's like, is it worth building? 100%, because you can, in limited metas, that'd be great. Is it worth using? I mean, if you don't have Hydro Cannon Swampert, yeah. If you do have Hydro Cannon Swampert, I don't think any of the matchups that you flip in the Great League are worth the losses that you pick up. Ultra League, same sort of thing. An extra 8 additional losses is quite a lot because there's so many. Fighters in Great League, and a couple fairies too that you're gonna have problems with. But it's worth trying. Again, I just think if you have Swampert, there's no point of running a less inferior Pokemon with way more weaknesses and is way more glassy, because Swampert's already super glassy. So that is basically it. So good luck grinding for Community Day. Great League, Ultra League is just your normal low attack, high defense and stamina. So look for those good IVs, and then Master League if you want one, hundo. But again, you don't need it for Master League. That's it. Good luck hunting tomorrow, and I will see you guys in the next one.